The warning klaxon screamed in harmony with the tearing groan of stressed metal, a symphony of imminent disaster that vibrated through the soles of my boots. My name's Kaelen, and my official title is Orbital Debris Mitigation Specialist. In reality, I'm a glorified garbage man with a high-powered plasma torch. I was dangling from a magnetic grapple, lying on the outer hull of the Starliner Celestial. Drifter, trying to carve away a chunk of rogue asteroid that had decided to introduce itself to the ship's primary thruster assembly. The asteroid was winning. Sparks showered around my helmet like angry, incandescent wasps. My comm crackled, the captain's voice tight with panic. "Kaelen, status! My VIP passenger is getting antsy, and the navigation computer says we have 12 minutes until we achieve a non-consensual orbital insertion into that gas giant." He meant we were about to become a very expensive, very brief meteor. "Almost there, Captain," I lied, wrenching my plasma torch. "Just a few more." "Stubborn molecules!" The truth was, the asteroid fragment was fused to the ship's hull, and cutting it free was like trying to perform surgery with a chainsaw during an earthquake. I needed to get inside, to the aft engineering crawl space, and manually decouple the plating. I kicked off the hull, my tether retracting with a whine, and zipped towards the nearest emergency airlock. The inner corridor was chaos. Red lights painted everything in a veneer of panic. Passengers in glittering finery were being herded towards escape pods by frantic-looking stewards. I shoved my way through, my dirty, scorched pressure suit a stark contrast to their silk and jewels. A steward tried to stop me. "Sir, this area is for VIPs only." I just pointed a grimy glove back the way I came. "Out there is a rock that's about to kill all of us, VIPs included. I'm the guy going to have a polite word with it. Now move." That's when I saw her. She stood amidst the chaos like the calm eye of a hurricane. Tall, impossibly elegant, with skin the color of a twilight nebula, a swirling mix of deep blues and purples. Her hair was a cascade of shimmering silver that seemed to defy the ship's failing gravity, and her eyes were solid gold like twin molten suns. She was flanked by two guards in polished chrome armor that made the ship's captain look like a hobo. Our eyes met for a fraction of a second. A flicker of something, surprise? Annoyance? It didn't matter. The ship lurched violently, throwing me off balance. I stumbled, my momentum carrying me forward, my arm flailing out to catch myself. My hand landed squarely on her shoulder. Time didn't just slow down. It froze, shattered, and then imploded. The two chrome guards moved with a speed that was patently unnatural. The barrels of their pulse rifles aimed directly between my eyes before I could even process my mistake. The nebula-skinned woman looked from my hand on her shoulder to my face, her expression unreadable. The corridor, which had been a cacophony of panic, fell utterly silent. Even the ship's groaning seemed to hold its breath. "You," she said, her voice a low, resonant hum that vibrated in my chest. "You have touched me." It wasn't a question. It was a verdict. Yeah, sorry about that," I stammered, retracting my hand as if her shoulder were made of acid. "Ship lurched, you know how it is." "My bad." Her golden eyes narrowed. The ambient temperature in the corridor seemed to drop 20 degrees. A small floating orb detached from her belt, projecting a swirling, complex holographic seal into the air. One of the chrome guards spoke, his voice a synthesized growl. "The human has made unsanctioned physical contact with the Matriarch-Arbiter." My blood ran cold. Matriarch-Arbiter. I'd heard the title. It was whispered in the darkest corners of cantinas, a name associated with entire systems being brought to heel, with laws so absolute they were woven into the fabric of reality itself. "Do you comprehend the gravity of your transgression, human?" the Arbiter asked, her voice still dangerously calm. "Look, lady, I'm just trying to stop this whole ship from becoming a cosmic firework," I pleaded, gesturing vaguely towards the aft section. "It was an accident. No harm, no foul, right?" She took a step closer. The guards tensed. "In the legal codex of my people, the Cygnian Ascendancy, there is no such thing as an accidental touch. Physical contact is the ultimate expression of intent. It is either an act of declared war," she paused, her golden eyes boring into me, "or it is a binding proposal of union." My jaw must have hit the floor plating. Of all the insane, ridiculous, what the hell is happening moments in my life, this took the grand prize. What? A proposal? I just stopped myself from falling over. Your motivations are irrelevant, the Chrome Guard stated flatly. The act itself is absolute. The Arbiter raised a slender, three-fingered hand. According to the intersystem accords, which your own species ratified, I must interpret your action based on context. Given that you are not a sovereign military power and you did not attempt to disembowel me, I am legally obligated to dismiss the act of war interpretation. A wave of relief washed over me, so potent it almost made my knees buckle. Thank the stars, I breathed. Which leaves only the latter option, she concluded, her expression unchanging. The relief vanished, replaced by a dread so profound it felt like a physical weight. The captain's panicked voice chose that exact moment to squawk in my ear. Kaelen, what's happening? We have 6 minutes. This is a misunderstanding, I said, looking around for support, but the other passengers were staring at me as if I'd just grown a second head. I have to go fix the ship. The ship is a secondary concern, the Arbiter stated. My honor and the sanctity of our laws is primary. You have made a proposal of union human, and I accept. The words hung in the air, more shocking than any explosion. One of the Chrome Guards activated a comm. Alert the fleet. The Matriarch-Arbiter has accepted a consort progenitor. Fleet? Consort progenitor? My brain felt like it was trying to do calculus in a hurricane. Whoa, hold on, I protested, my voice cracking. I can't be your consort thing. I'm a garbage man. I have a weird rash on my elbow I need to get checked out. I'm a terrible choice. Your suitability is not for you to decide, she said, her golden eyes seeming to soften for a barest fraction of a second. The law is the law. The touch was made. The proposal is binding. I ran a hand through my greasy hair, my mind racing. The ship groaned again, a final despairing sound. Okay, look, I said, desperation making me bold. What if I fail? What if I'm an unsuitable consort? Is there a trial? An out clause? A customer satisfaction survey? The Arbiter tilted her head, a flicker of genuine curiosity in her golden eyes. There is a test, a period of evaluation, a single cycle, during which the proposer must prove their intrinsic worth. Great. Perfect, I'll do the test, I said, latching onto the slimmest of hopes. And if I fail? You just, annul the whole thing and we go our separate ways? The Matriarch-Arbiter's expression became utterly glacial. If you are found unworthy after a binding proposal has been accepted, it is the ultimate insult. The punishment is disassembly, atom by atom. The captain's voice was a frantic squeak in my ear. 3 minutes, Kaelen. I looked at the impossibly powerful, terrifyingly beautiful alien being before me. I looked in the direction of the failing thruster that was about to kill everyone. Disassembly atom by atom, or becoming a smear of carbon on the atmospheric layers of a gas giant. It wasn't much of a choice, but it was the only one I had. All right, I said, squaring my shoulders and trying to sound braver than I felt. When and where does this evaluation start? She gave a slow, deliberate blink. It has already begun. And you are failing. The ship is still falling. She then did something I never expected. She gestured to the aft corridor. Fix my ship, proposer. Prove your worth. My tiny, cramped apartment aboard the orbital station felt like a prison cell, its sterile white walls closing in. The celestial drifter had been saved, thanks to me jury-rigging a plasma conduit that would probably give the next engineer a fatal aneurysm, but my own problems had just begun. The Matriarch-Arbiter, whose name I learned was Xylia, had commandeered the entire diplomatic wing of the station. She had granted me 12 hours to prepare for the formal evaluation. I had spent 10 of those hours pacing. Computer, I said for the 100th time. Show me everything on the Cygnian Ascendancy's union customs. The computer's soothing female voice replied, as it had the 99 times before. I'm sorry, Kaelen. That information is classified under a Level 9 security protocol. Access denied. Of course it is. I groaned, collapsing onto my narrow bunk. My door chimed. Before I could even say anything, it slid open to reveal Anya, the station's chief cargo pilot, and the only person I knew who could drink reactor coolant and ask for seconds. Her short-cropped red hair was a mess, and she was holding a data slate with a look of horrified amusement. "Tell me," she said, not bothering with a greeting, "that the station-wide broadcast about you accidentally proposing to the most terrifying woman in the known galaxy is just a really elaborate prank. I just buried my face in my hands." "Oh, you poor bastard," she whistled, stepping inside. "I pulled some strings with a guy I know in interstellar shipping who once delivered a crate of something unspeakable to a Cygnian outpost. He said their trials of worthiness usually involve one of three things." She held up her fingers. 1. Ritual combat to the death against a bioengineered monstrosity. 2. Composing a 72-hour epic poem about their legal system in their native tongue, which has 7 different grammatical moods for expressing disappointment. Or 3. She paused for dramatic effect. You have to successfully navigate their labyrinth of bureaucratic forms without making a single clerical error. "I'll take the monster," I said without hesitation. "Any advice?" Anya plopped down on the chair by my small desk. "Yeah, don't die. And maybe take a shower. I can smell plasma scoring from here." She tossed a small metallic object onto my bunk. It looked like a sleek high-tech pen. "What's this?" "It's a universal translator scrambler. Good for about 30 seconds. If she asks you a question you can't answer, click it. It'll make it sound like you're reciting ancient poetry while a star is being born. Might buy you a few seconds to think of a better lie." "Anya, you're a lifesaver. Just remember me when you're the consort to a galactic Empress," she winked. "Maybe you can get my docking fees waived." After she left, I spent the final hour I had standing in front of my tiny mirror. I had put on my best set of civilian clothes, a worn but clean pair of dark gray trousers and a black shirt. I looked exactly like what I was, a guy who was completely and utterly out of his depth. Just a regular Joe about to be judged by a demigoddess with atomic disassembly on the line. No big deal. The diplomatic wing was like another world. The air was clean, the corridors were wide and carpeted, and the lighting was designed to be soothing rather than merely functional. Xylia's 2 chrome guards stood outside a massive, ornate doorway. They scanned me with about a dozen different devices before the door hissed open. The suite within was breathtaking. It was less a room and more a captured piece of the night sky. A vast, floor-to-ceiling window showed the curve of the earth below, a swirling marble of blue, white, and green. The furniture was made of some dark, polished material that seemed to drink the light, and holographic star charts drifted lazily through the air. Xylia stood by the window, her back to me. She had changed out of her severe, official attire and was wearing a flowing gown of deep indigo that shimmered as she moved. "You are punctual," she said, her voice a low hum that sent a shiver down my spine. "A minor point in your favor." She turned, and the full force of her presence hit me. Up close, her nebular skin had subtle, shifting patterns of light, like galaxies being born and dying. And her eyes, those solid gold eyes, seemed to see right through me, peeling back every layer of pretense. Your Majesty? Arbiter?" I fumbled. "Xylia," she corrected, her tone softening almost imperceptibly. "Under the circumstances, a title seems insufficient." She glided towards a cabinet that materialized from the wall. "Tell me, Kaelen, the garbage man, why did you not choose the simpler path? Why not allow the ship to be destroyed? Your death would have been instantaneous, far preferable to the slow disassembly that awaits you if you fail." The question was a test. I knew it. She wanted to hear some noble speech about duty and saving the innocent, but I was tired, scared, and way past the point of pretending. "Honestly?" I said with a shrug. "The ship's plumbing system is a nightmare. I've spent the last 6 months replacing the thermal regulators. I'll be damned if I was going to let all that hard work get vaporized by a stupid rock." For the first time, I saw a genuine emotion on her face. Her lips twitched, the barest hint of a smile. An interesting, if pragmatic, motivation. She poured a shimmering silver liquid into 2 crystalline glasses. "Are you afraid?" "Terrified," I admitted, accepting the glass. "Good," she said, her golden eyes meeting mine. "Fear sharpens the mind. Now the evaluation. My people value legacy, power, and intellect. Tell me of your lineage. What great deeds have your ancestors performed? This was it, the moment of truth. My ancestors were a long line of plumbers, mechanics, and one guy who was regionally famous for being able to unicycle while juggling fish. I had nothing. My hand instinctively went to the scrambler in my pocket. But then I looked at her, at this being of immense power who probably listened to sycophants and liars all day long. My only chance was the one thing I had left, the truth. My lineage? I said, taking a sip of the drink. It tasted like ozone and cold starlight. My father fixed hyperdrives. My mother was a hydroponics farmer. My grandfather, well, he taught me how to patch a leaky fusion coil with nothing but a wrench and a string of creative curse words. We're not conquerors or kings, Xylia. We're fixers. We find things that are broken and we make them work. I expected her to call the guards to declare the trial over. Instead, she just watched me, her head tilted. A noble, if humble, profession, she stated, though her tone suggested it was anything but. And what of you? What is the greatest thing you have ever fixed? I thought for a moment, the starlight drink buzzing in my veins. There was a kid on this station about 8 years old. Lost his gravity pup, a little robotic dog. It had fallen into a waste reclamation shaft. Everyone told him it was gone for good. I spent 3 days of my off-duty time climbing through garbage chutes and rewiring compactors until I found it. The look on that kid's face when I handed him his toy, yeah, that's probably it. Xylia was silent for a long, long time. The holographic star charts drifted between us. The silence stretched, becoming a tangible thing. I could feel my life hanging in the balance, weighed against the worth of a robotic dog. Finally, she set her glass down with a soft click. The evaluation has concluded. My heart stopped. This was it. My atoms were about to have a very messy divorce. And, I whispered, my throat dry. Her golden eyes seemed to flicker. And I find myself intrigued. You value small things. You are honest in the face of oblivion. Your motivations are not for power or glory, but for plumbing. She moved closer, the scent of distant nebulae and something faintly metallic filling the air around her. My entire existence has been a tapestry of grand gestures, of galactic consequences, of laws that shape civilizations. In 400 of your years, no one has ever offered me such a simple truth. She was so close now I could see the faint light pulsing in the depths of her skin. But honesty is not enough. A consort must understand the burdens of power. She gestured to the window, to the earth hanging like a jewel in the void. My last consort tried to use our union to seize control of a star system. I was forced to judge him myself. I watched as he was disassembled for his treason. The casual horror of her statement was like a punch to the gut. This wasn't a game. So what now? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Now, she said, her voice dropping to a low, intimate hum as she raised a hand, her long, elegant fingers stopping just a millimeter from my cheek. You must prove you are not like him. You must show me that you can be trusted with a power you cannot possibly comprehend. You must show me what it means to fix something that is not made of metal and wires. She paused, her golden eyes searching mine for something I couldn't name. You must show me how to fix me. The weight of her words settled in the space between us, heavier than any planet. She wasn't testing my strength or my intellect anymore. She was testing my heart. And against the cold, hard logic of the cosmos, a broken toy and a well-maintained plumbing system were the only evidence I had in my favor. The trial wasn't over. It had just gotten infinitely more complicated. The air in the suite crackled with unspoken tension. I looked from her expectant golden eyes to the vibrant earth spinning below, fixing a person. How do you even start? My mind, usually so good at diagnosing mechanical failures, went completely blank. So I did the only thing I could. I defaulted to my training. Okay, I said, my voice steadier than I expected. When something's broken, the first step is diagnostics. What are the symptoms? A slow, genuine smile spread across Xylia's face, transforming her severe beauty into something breathtaking. A logical approach. I approve. She glided back towards the window, her back to me once again. The primary symptom is isolation. I am the supreme legal authority for 17 billion souls across 3 spiral arms. I am a symbol, an institution. Beings do not speak to me. They address the office I hold. They plead, they bargain, they threaten, but they never talk. She looked over her shoulder, her gaze piercing. For centuries, every interaction I've had has been a calculation. Every word, a potential legal precedent. Every gesture, a political statement. That sounds exhausting, I said, meaning it. It is a weight that would have crushed a lesser being long ago, she said, not as a boast, but as a simple statement of fact. But the cost is a disconnection. I understand laws, Kaelen. I understand power, but I no longer understand people. An idea sparked in my mind, so insane, so stupid, that it had to be the right one. Computer, I said, stepping towards a blank section of the wall. Access Station Food Replication Matrix. Authorization Kaelen 7 Gamma 3. A panel slid open, revealing a standard replication unit. Xylia watched, her head tilted in curiosity. What are you doing? You want to understand people? I said, keying in a command. Let's start with one of their greatest, most illogical creations. I turned to her with a flourish. I'm introducing you to the profound cosmic joy of greasy, late-night pizza. The replicator hummed, and a moment later, a round, steaming disk of melted cheese, tomato sauce, and pepperoni materialized. The aroma filled the sterile, elegant suite with the gloriously messy scent of earth. I presented it to her like a holy relic. She stared at the pizza as if it were some strange, potentially hostile life form. We ought to consume this? We are, I said, taking a slice. There's a technique to it, I demonstrated, folding the slice in half. It minimizes cheese drip and maximizes flavor delivery. It's an art. She watched me take a bite. Then hesitantly, she mimicked the action. Her golden eyes widened. A cascade of emotions played across her face. Surprise, confusion, and then undeniable pleasure. The combination of textures, the savory and acidic notes, she murmured, taking another larger bite. It is chaotic, illogical, and utterly compelling. For the next hour, we didn't talk about laws or galaxies. We talked about pizza toppings. I told her about the great pineapple debate that had divided generations of humans. She told me, with a perfectly straight face, that the most prized delicacy of her people was a type of crystal that tasted faintly of regret. We moved from pizza to ice cream. The cold sweetness, a shocking contrast she found fascinating. And as we ate, sitting on the floor of her multi-million credit diplomatic suite, something miraculous happened. She started to laugh. Not the faint, polite smile from before, but a real deep musical laugh that seemed to echo with centuries of repressed joy. It was the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. You, she said, pointing a finger at me, a tiny smudge of chocolate at the corner of her mouth. You are a dangerous influence, Kaelen the Fixer. Hey, you're the one who wanted to be fixed, I grinned. Sometimes the best way to repair a complex system is to introduce a little chaos. Flushes out the bad code? The playful mood shifted, replaced by the earlier intensity. You have shown me honesty. You have shown me joy, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper. But the final test remains, the test of trust. She stood, her form silhouetted against the star-dusted void. My laws state that a union is sealed not by a first touch, but by a second. The first is the proposal, an offering. The second is acceptance, an act of supreme vulnerability, to allow another into one's personal space willingly. She turned to face me, her golden eyes blazing. If you touch me again, Kaelen, the trial ends. The union is sealed, irrevocably. There is no appeal, no annulment. We will be bound for the remainder of our very, very long lives. My heart hammered against my ribs. This was it. The final choice. A life I could never have imagined, tied to a being of immense power and profound loneliness. Or retreat back to my simple existence of fixing pipes and salvaging debris. Was I brave enough? Or stupid enough? And if I walk away? I asked, my voice hoarse. Then the proposal is rejected, she said, a flicker of something that looked like pain in her eyes. You will be free to go, and I will return to my solitude. The space between us felt like a galaxy. Earth spun on below, oblivious. I thought about my life, about the grease under my fingernails and the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. It was a good life, a simple life, But as I looked at Xylia, I realized something. I had spent my entire life fixing things, machines, systems, gadgets. But I had never tried to fix something that truly mattered. Slowly, deliberately, I closed the distance between us. I raised my hand, my calloused mechanic's fingers hovering just inches from her perfect, nebula-like skin. Her breath hitched. The light patterns on her skin swirled faster, brighter. I let my fingers gently brush against her cheek. Her skin was warm, vibrant, and thrummed with a strange energy, like a star engine idling. A gasp escaped her lips, and where I touched her, her skin erupted in a silent, brilliant supernova of bioluminescent light. The patterns spread, a wave of incandescent blues and purples washing over her face, down her neck, and across her shoulders. "You understand," she whispered, her voice trembling. "This is forever." "Forever is a long time," I replied, my voice thick with an emotion I couldn't name. "We'd better get comfortable." And then I leaned in and kissed her. It was a kiss that sealed the fate of two worlds, a clumsy garbage man and a lonely goddess. Her lips were soft, and they tasted of starlight and chocolate ice cream. When we finally broke apart, the light from her skin illuminated the entire suite, casting shifting galactic patterns on the walls. Her golden eyes, now glowing with an inner fire, met mine. "So," I said, a grin spreading across my face, "does this mean I passed the trial?" "Let's call it," she murmured, pulling me back towards her, "a lifetime of advanced practical assessments." The next few weeks were a blur. The announcement of our union sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council. There were emergency sessions, diplomatic protests, and at least 3 assassination attempts, which Xylia handled with a terrifying efficiency that was both horrifying and deeply attractive. But a new, more dangerous threat emerged. A faction on the council, led by a charismatic and ruthless politician named Lord Vorlag, formally accused me of using a forbidden form of psychic manipulation to force Xylia into the Union. It was a baseless, ridiculous charge, but in the halls of power, truth was a flexible concept. I found myself standing in the center of the Grand Chamber, a vast amphitheater filled with delegates from 1,000 worlds. I was bound in energy cuffs facing a tribunal. And, in a cruel twist of irony, Xylia, as the Matriarch-Arbiter, was legally required to preside over my trial. Vorlag presented his evidence: falsified brain scans, coerced testimonies, and wild interpretations of my suspiciously rapid success. He painted a picture of a cunning human spy who had brought the mighty Cygnian Ascendancy to its knees through trickery. "This maintenance worker," Vorlag boomed, his voice dripping with contempt, "nobody has compromised the very legal system our Arbiter is sworn to protect. The only sentence is death to cleanse this stain upon her honor." Xylia sat on her high throne, her face an unreadable mask, but I could see the faint, frantic pulsing of the light beneath her skin. Her hands were clenched on the arms of her throne. She was trapped by the very laws she embodied. The chamber doors suddenly burst open with a deafening crash. A figure strode in, flanked by 2 hulking, battle-scarred warriors in crimson armor. It was a woman with fiery red hair cut in a brutally practical style, a long leather coat, and a smirk that looked like it could cut through blast doors. The entire chamber fell silent. I saw Lord Vorlag's face go pale. "Anya!" I gasped, completely stunned. She ignored me, her eyes locked on Vorlag. "Are you done flapping your gums, you overstuffed peacock?" she asked, her voice echoing through the silent chamber. A murmur went through the crowd. Xylia leaned forward on her throne. "Pilot Anya," she said, her voice laced with warning, "you have no standing in this court." "Oh, I think I do," Anya grinned, pulling a small, ornate device from her coat and tossing it onto the floor. It projected a massive, shimmering crest into the air, the sigil of the legendary Terran Corsair fleet. A group of mercenaries and privateers so feared and respected, they operated with their own sovereign authority. "I am Corsair Captain Anya of the starship Retribution, and I'm here on behalf of my client." She jerked a thumb in my direction. "And according to the Corsair Accords, which you all signed after we blockaded your home world for 6 months, any attempt to persecute a Corsair-affiliated individual Without our consent is considered... What was the phrase again, boys? One of her crimson-armored guards grunted. An act of galactic war. The chaos was immediate. Vorlag sputtered, his political maneuvering collapsing around him. Anya strode to the center of the floor, picked up the projector, and faced the tribunal. My client, Mr. Kaelen, isn't a spy. He's just the best damn zero-G mechanic and salvage operator in the sector. He once rewired my ship's life support using nothing but a protein bar wrapper and a paperclip. That's not psychic manipulation, you morons. That's just being good at his job. She turned to me and winked. He's also an idiot who keeps accidentally getting engaged to galactic royalty, but that's a personal problem. Xylia descended from her throne, her official composure cracking as she moved to stand beside me. The energy cuffs on my wrists dissolved with a wave of her hand. "Why didn't you tell me you were Corsair-affiliated?" she whispered, her golden eyes a mix of relief and exasperation. "Would you have believed me?" I shrugged. Besides, it was my mess. I wanted to fix it myself. Anya cleared her throat loudly. "As for Lord Vorlag," she continued, her voice going cold, "my sources indicate his sudden interest in the Arbiter's honor coincides with his family losing a major asteroid mining contract to a Cygnian competitor. This wasn't about law. It was about money. The case fell apart. Vorlag was disgraced, the charges were dropped, and the council offered its most groveling apologies. Later, in the quiet of Xylia's suite, the three of us stood by the window. "I owe you one, Anya," I said. "A big one." "You owe me a planet minimum," she shot back. "But I'll settle for you finally fixing the inertial dampeners on my ship. And a case of that weird Cygnian booze that tastes like regret." She gave Xylia a respectful nod. "Your Highness, try and keep this one out of trouble." As she left, I turned to Xylia. Her skin was glowing softly, a calm, steady pulse of light. "A Corsair captain," she said, a hint of awe in her voice. "A legendary fixer who saves robotic dogs and is friends with pirates. You continue to be unpredictable. Just keeping things interesting," I said, pulling her close. "So, are there any more trials I should know about? Any other ancient customs I'm about to violate?" "I believe," she said, her golden eyes sparkling, "the next custom involves a very long, very complicated honeymoon. There are forms to fill out." I groaned. "I'll take the bioengineered monster, please." She laughed, that beautiful musical sound that I was slowly, painstakingly fixing. The galaxy was still a chaotic, dangerous place. But for the first time, I felt like I wasn't just fixing the things that were broken. I was building something new, and it was going to be one hell of a job. So what did we learn today? That sometimes the biggest problems in the universe don't need a hero with a laser sword.